Batman has been flung throughout the multiverse to learn the true origins of the Joker. This is the Batman of Gotham, which is the sequel to Batman Failsafe. This storyline is going to tell you what happened to Batman after he was supposedly killed by Failsafe. But the story itself is going to start with an origin of Zur-En-Arrh, which is the psychotic Batman within Batman's mind, and it's going to tell you about Tim Drake's attempts to rescue Batman. Then we're going to go into what happened to Batman in this alternate Gotham. I hope you guys enjoy the full story of the Batman of Gotham. It all happened in a flash, in a moment's notice. Batman was looking at himself. No, not himself. This person says that his name is the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh. This place isn't even home. He is on his planet. But how? When did he? Again, the world changes and Batman is home. Robin and Alfred state that Professor Achilles Milo poisoned him, but maybe it was them instead. How is Batman supposed to strike fear in the hearts of villains when he himself is so scared? His mind was taken. Not once had he ever experienced something like this. It was meant to break him, to make him into a coward. But the thing is, now that he's better, he's even more scared. Imagining what could happen if someone took over his mind, the damage that they could do. He could even use the weapon of a coward, and he wouldn't know. He'd be the gun. But for every gun, there needs to be a safety. So for the next month, Batman underwent his own personal therapy, pushing himself to the absolute brink. Miles still to go. He was finally doing it. He was making sure that nobody could claim the mind of the Batman again. Then there's a flash. He goes back to when his parents went to see the Mask of Zorro. Why would he think that? The phone rings, and it's Commissioner Gordon telling Batman that he needs help. Joker has been infecting people with seemingly no connection other than the fact that several of these people are security guards for Weltremexit Pharmaceuticals. However, something is off on all of the victims. They aren't smiling. Joker's toxin usually affects one portion of the mind as well as another. But here, it's a fake smile. Batman pauses. He shouldn't be here. His mind isn't ready. Does Joker know that? Is Joker mirroring his broken psyche with his fake smile? Is the Joker broken as well? Ready or not, Batman rushes Weltremex. Normally, he'd feel prepared when taking down another bad guy. But the Joker, he's unpredictable. A whirlwind of chaos. And he's still broken. While climbing up the side of the Weltremex tower, the windows explode and the Joker leans out. I thought I heard the bat flapping around out here. Batman thinks back to his therapy. The backup personality that he has been building isn't complete yet. His brain feels like it's sweating, but he can't sit in his cave while the Joker is out there. Joker needs to die. Batman thinks about it. The Joker needs to be put away. They need doctors to study and fix the Joker. Batman doesn't kill. Why did he think that? Again, Batman's mind wanders back to that night when Zorro killed people who deserved to die. But that wasn't real. He shouldn't take another life. But then there's a cry for help, snapping Batman back to reality. He was too slow because he was too weak. People died. With one doctor left, the Joker stares, holding his gun to that doctor's head. I can't wait anymore. I need to get better. See? I need my smile back. It all started when I heard some rumor of a doctor named Milo who broke my beautiful bat brain. You made him crazy. I'm supposed to be the crazy one, not the Batman. His is more of a simmering insanity. I dress as a bat, so I think I can save people insanity. But if he's as crazy as me, then I can be just as serious as him. Joker lets go of the hostage as he attacks. But rather than chase Joker, Batman tends to the doctor. Too many have died at the hands of this maniac. No more. Not. But then, he has a flashback again. His father reminding him that Zorro is a movie, that he couldn't think of anything worse than taking a life. Unless they deserved it. Do they deserve it, Batman? Because if they do, then let him in. You don't have to do anything, Batman. Bruce Wayne, the doctor's son. Your hands will be clean, your conscience pristine. It'll be so easy. Batman stands back up, the Joker beginning to laugh. Would you look at that? It took a few innocent deaths for me to get my groove back. However, as the Joker turns back, he notices something is different. This man looks like him, he smells like him, but he isn't really Batman, is he? Batman turns back with a smile. Oh, I am him, all right. I'm Batman. And tonight, the Joker dies. The Joker, he bursts out laughing again. Well, would you look at that? You're as crazy as a soup sandwich. The new persona of Batman lunges, grabbing the Joker, slamming him into the wall. The only crazy thing about me is that I've let you live until now. Is it really you? Can't have a lie down while Dr. Joker analyzes. Before he could finish, Batman grabs him, dragging him to the window. All you do is talk, talk, talk. Your final words are as meaningless as your life. But inside of Batman's mind, he asks the new persona, what are you doing? You're supposed to be in control. You're supposed to defend me from... The Batman of Zur-En-Arrh asks him, psychological attacks? Bruce. The Joker is a psychological attack. Every time we fight, he gets in our head. He's a monster, and monsters need to be slain. Letting the Joker live is a crime, and you exist. Batman exists to stop crime. Killing the Joker saves lives. Where does it end? Riddler, Two-Face, when are you going to stop killing? The Batman of Zur-En-Arrh tells him, I'll stop when they're gone. When the threat of death sends them scurrying like the cowards they are. I'll stop when everyone's been saved. But there's a voice. Joker's persona asking, what about me? I don't know what's happening, but I wasn't always like this. Something's broken in me. I can't remember what did it. I can't even hold on to that feeling from before. Maybe you should kill me. End this. But Batman saves everyone, right? It's what you do. So who are you going to save? Joker begins to cry, and a woman reaches out, telling him that it's okay. He is broken, but her son will fix him. Batman pulls off his mask, asking what is his mother, Martha Wayne, doing here? Martha tells him that he's her son, his father's son. He isn't a killer. This persona, this Batman of Zur-En-Arrh, it's nothing, hollow anger. So save the Joker, save everyone, save yourself. Batman blinks and he finds himself back in control at Weltermax. After the other Batman tosses the Joker out the window. He rushes over, firing his grappling hook, just barely catching the Joker by the foot, and he lets out a heavy sigh of relief. He catches his breath and he thinks about how all of this came to be. He's dangerous. Not much scares him. But the idea that he might be the most dangerous man alive does. He has lines that he cannot cross. He is the safety on the gun. Batman spends another week finishing his programming, making sure that the Zur-En-Arrh protocol shares Batman's lines, fail-safes, and barriers. As Batman takes off the mind device, he walks over to the workbench and begins to stitch something. Robin comes down the stairs asking if he's ready yet. Wait, what is that? The bat symbol is yellow. Batman finishes putting on his suit, telling him that he saw something similar. Maybe it will draw enemy fire to his fortified chest plate. Then Batman thinks that it could be something else. Maybe he just likes to be reminded that there's something lurking behind the bat. Zur-N-R. As Batman begins to gain consciousness, he can hear people speaking. A man and a woman are taking his utility belt, and there's nothing he can do about it. He can hardly even move. After a bit of struggling, he sits up, telling himself to remember what happened. There was Tim, and there was Failsafe. He was in the Arctic. He thought he'd fixed Failsafe's programming, but why is he here? This is Crime Alley. Except it's not. Something's different. At that moment, another voice calls out to him, telling him to be careful or he might just go on and break that big old brain thinking too much. Batman sees Jim standing there, or at least, Jim Gordon's skeleton. Batman begins to think to himself, asking if Zur-N-R damaged his brain. But Jimbo answers that for him. Hardly, Bats. It's just your good old pal, Jimbo. We fight crime together, biff, bam, pow, and I'm here to help. Batman shakes his head. This isn't his Earth. Failsafe sent him here without proper acclimatization. His brain must have been scrambled from some sort of multiversal poisoning. Just need to get things straight. He has to get his clothing, assess where he is and how he can get back, piece it all together, and he needs to do the work. Jimbo begins to laugh, yelling that that's the Dark Knight detective that he knows and loves. Ha 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 ha! After getting changed, Bruce looks at his surroundings, and the one thing that sticks out the most is that there is no Wayne Tower. It's been replaced by something else. This thing feels more foreboding, darker. As Bruce begins to hear a scream in the distance, he knows that he is still in Gotham, and that he is still Batman. The next building over, Venom-enhanced police begin to knock on the doors, asking the residents a simple question. Are you sane or insane? Before even opening the door, a man's door is kicked in by a large man telling him, I am the one who judges. Now answer the question. Bruce quietly sneaks in from behind before the large man could enact his justice. And even before grabbing him, he smells the stink of venom. The two struggle for power, and Bruce manages to kick the man back and get a good look at his face. It's Harvey Dent. Of course, he would be the one to deliver justice. Dent grabs Bruce by the neck, slamming him into a table, shouting, Did you come to fight Judge Dent? You must be insane. Bruce tries to fight back the hold, but while still recovering from the displacement, he grabs a hold of Dent's thumb, breaking it, using Dent as a shield, throwing him into the other officers. But just as he clears himself a path, a voice calls out, telling him not to worry, they got him. Bruce looks out the window to see Firefly hovering there, and then he torches the entire apartment. If there's one thing that's consistent between realities, Firefly's an idiot. Batman grabs a hold of the old woman staying in the apartment, bringing her to safety. But before he could get her out, he feels a pull at the back of his neck. Dent pulls and throws Bruce by the collar, shouting that his ruling is final. Bruce tries to grab whatever he can to fight back, but the massive fist of the Venom-enhanced Harvey Dent finds its mark, cracking Bruce in the face. Dent winds up for another hit, but then he's struck in the side of the head by two small daggers. Bruce looks over to see a young girl sitting in the window with two knives telling him to move now. He rushes back towards the window, tackling into the girl before any of the shots from the officers could land, tumbling through the fire escape, barely landing on their feet. Bruce tries to stand up, but he feels a stinging pain, where he did, in fact, get shot. The young girl tells him that they need to get him some help. The two hobble over to the nearby car, Bruce trying to piece things together. Is he alive in this multiversal dimension? Is there a Batman? As he's put into the back of the car, Skeleton Jimbo tells him that that's the $1 million question, isn't it? But later, in that abandoned apartment building, the young girl gives Bruce what he asked for, but says that she doesn't really know how to use the tweezers. He tells her it's okay, he's done this before. Too many times. He removes the bullet in his leg and he asks her what's her name. The young girl says Julia, but everyone calls her Jewel. Bruce tells her that his name is Bruce, and then he continues to ask about her situation. She doesn't answer, and he realizes that her parents aren't around. He sees it in her eyes, because a light goes out when you're an orphan. Behind them is darkness. And that's why he can tell, here in this universe, there is no Batman. Bruce Wayne is dead. This was Failsafe's compassion, his gift to Batman. A Gotham without Batman. A Gotham to save. But back on the Prime Earth, not everyone assumed that Batman died. Tim Drake was there in the final moments, and now in the catacombs beneath Gotham City, he watches and rewatches Batman's final moments just before Failsafe shot him. John Kent says that if he just... But Tim says this isn't his fault. It's Batman's fault. Bruce created Failsafe and now he's gone. John still thinks that it was his fault though. He put the gun in the Fortress of Solitude. And now that Batman's dead, but Tim Drake snaps, yelling, "He's not dead! He's Batman! We've been through this before. We just need to figure out more about your gun. Failsafe destroyed it after firing. He'd only do that if that meant that we could bring Batman back, but the only person who could tell us that is..." And John tells him, "Dead. I'm sorry, I wish I could do more." A little bit of time passes and a group of Joker's thugs kidnap a brother and sister in hopes of getting ransom money out of their wealthy father. But the lights go out and Nightwing swings in, beginning to take them out. As he begins to make his jokes, the leader of the thugs cracks Nightwing in the face, getting ready to deliver a final blow. But before he could, an R-shaped batarang shoots by, knocking the knife out of his hand. The man then yells, asking, "Do you bad boys have anything better to do?" The thug waits for a response from Robin, but not hearing one, he asks, "What gives? You boys never usually shut up. Looks like I'll just make you scream." As the thug charges in, Tim hits him with his staff and says that he doesn't really have anything to say. Later, after securing the two of them, Nightwing says that he appreciates the assist. He totally had it though, but it's good to see Tim. Tim responds by thanking him for helping out in Gotham. He knows how it goes. The rumors are that Batman's gone. So the smart ones, the Riddlers, the Banes, they know not to believe it. But the low-level guys, like Joker's goons, they think that this is their moment to step into the world. But the Bat family will be here to stop them. Tim goes to leave. Nightwing asks if he's okay. Tim says he isn't. Everyone keeps saying that Batman is dead, but he can't be. Batman, Bruce, he survives. It's what he does. Nightwing takes a moment. "You know, you're right. Batman isn't dead." And Tim tells him thank you. He's glad that he isn't alone in thinking that. But Nightwing then tries to stop Tim, telling him that he shouldn't be wasting resources on this. It's Batman. He'll come back. Tim yells at him. "You've been away, Dick. You haven't seen the Zur-En-Arrh protocol. He's not the same Batman that he or anyone knows. He needs help." Tim then grapples away before Nightwing can stop him, when suddenly they get a radio message from John. John Kent has realized something. Toyman killed himself, but he may have left them some clues as to that gun that Failsafe used. Tim rushes back to the catacombs, reviewing the scenario where John fought against the Toyman when he attacked Metropolis. John did what he could, but people died. And besides the giant toy robots, Toyman had a gun. Sometimes it turned people into toy versions of themselves, and other times it seemingly obliterated them. Toyman killed himself, and Superman thought it was the end of it. However, that same gun was later used by Failsafe to incinerate Batman. But the readings this thing left behind are of residual multiversal energy, so it came from somewhere else, which means people must have been sent somewhere else. Batman can't be dead. The gun must have sent him somewhere, and wherever he is, he's surviving, and he needs Tim's help getting back. A voice tells him that he has a good theory. But the catch is that they're stuck in a single multiversal energy signature, the one this human toy came from. Mr. Terrific goes on stating that it's possible that Batman is out there, but it's also possible that he was sent somewhere else, and they don't have a location on Failsafe. Tim explains that Failsafe escaped after dispatching Batman. He wishes that he had more to give, but Mr. Terrific tells him that it's okay. It's enough to start. A few days later, Mr. Terrific returns with a suit, telling him that this should protect him against whatever's on the other side, but he can't guarantee that they'll be able to communicate once he's there. The suit is tethered to their universe, like a lifeline. As long as he's in it, he'll get back safely. Tim asks what about the others, and Mr. Terrific hands him a stack of discs, telling him that the suit is a beacon. Attach these to whoever comes back, and they'll snap back with the tethered. Tim puts on his helmet, telling him all right. Seems straightforward. Guess there's nothing left to do but leave our universe. So he braces himself as Mr. Terrific activates the machine, and within seconds, Tim is thrown into the multiversal stream looking for Batman. He lands on the other side trying to contact Mr. Terrific, but with no signal. He starts to look at his surroundings. The neighborhood seems quiet, but then suddenly there's a ping on his suit indicating trace multiversal energy. He follows this signal to a shed in hopes of finding Bruce, but as he opens the door, his eyes widen. Inside are dozens of people huddling together, begging for him not to hurt them. And then suddenly there's a laser that shoots right next to Tim's head. He turns back to see Toyman walking towards him. "You don't belong here! You're not one of my toys!" As Toyman gets closer, he holds his laser up, asking if Superman Jr. sent him. Maybe he should send back his bones as a warning to leave him alone. He's finally happy here and... Oh, wait! Tim hurries inside the shed, closing it, ignoring the monologue from the villain. He then tells the people inside that they don't have a lot of time. Take the discs and make sure that everyone has one, and we're out of here. One of the women takes the stack and begins to pass them out, but explains to Tim that there's one more person outside of the shed. Tim throws a small bomb that blasts a hole in the back of the shed for him to escape, and he quickly rushes to where the radar pinged, where he was tracing the multiversal energy originally. Once he gets inside the house and down the stairs and into the basement, he finds a toy version of Toyman operating on a man yelling, "I was promised more time!" Tim slows himself. "All right, Toyman, just put the knife down. It's over. I need to take this man home." "Man? This is meat. Fascinating meat. The other gave me this in exchange for secrets about how they tick. All I want to do now is play with my toys." As the robot brings the knife to the man's neck, Tim pulls out his staff, swinging, slamming the pole into the robot's neck, pinning him down. He tells himself that it isn't alive. And when he looks Bruce in the eye, he wants him to know that he never faltered. He stayed a hero. He swings again, knocking the robot to the ground, and then Toyman walks down telling him, "We weren't hurting anyone! For the most part. Perhaps Bioman here was. But all I wanted was to be left alone." Toyman's toys flood the basement, and Tim fights his way through until he manages to get close enough to slap a disc on Toyman's shoulder, activating his suit. In a flash, everyone with a disc on them tumbles out of the rift and back to where Mr. Terrific is standing. Mr. Terrific asks if this is it, and Tim says, "Yeah, this is everybody." And as he gets up, he grabs Toyman, including this piece of trash, who's gonna help us track down Batman. A little while later, Mr. Terrific begins to go over his findings, stating that it all looks to be in order, provided he's ready. Tim says he is, and then he asks, how does it work? Toyman says that his original multiverse gun was keyed to the toy universe, but their robot reprogrammed it. With the gun destroyed, he can't pinpoint the universe that Batman is in. Tim says that that's good enough for him. But before leaving, Toyman turns back asking, "I just want you to know, I am sorry. Everything here just feels like so much, all the time. Just wanted a place where I could feel like I was in control, a place filled with toys." Tim stops and looks at him. "I know. We're gonna get you some help, so you don't have to feel that way anymore." Mr. Terrific tells him that the suit is updated to get him to the right universe this time, but he'll need this neuro link to pinpoint Batman's location. All he needs to do is focus on Batman. However, because they haven't had any contact with him, it's possible that he'll be in danger. Tim steps into the machine, telling him, "That's why I redesigned the multiversal suit. I want him to see that Robin is coming to save him." Mr. Terrific hits the switch, and seconds later, Tim is back in the bleed, crossing infinite worlds, crises, potentials, and soon everything stops, and Tim finds himself in a desert. Two archaeologists stop as they see a flash of light, and as they get closer to Tim, he looks at the woman. "Mom?" Janet Drake runs over asking, "What on earth? Tim? What are you wearing? How are you here? Did your father?" Tim stops, just hugging her. "It's okay." And as she gets closer, she says, "Wait, you're not my son. Who?" Tim stops her right there. "I'm from somewhere else, and I just needed to see you for a moment." So the two take a moment to sit down, and Tim tells her everything. As outlandish as it all may seem, that his mother has always been a believer of the world that they couldn't see. He tells her how he lost her and Dad in his world, that he works hard to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And then Janet asks if he has anyone to take care of him. He smiles. He does. He has a family. and they protect each other. And right now, he's traveling to help one of them. He gets up, getting ready to leave, but she stands up. I don't know how this happened, this miracle, but I know now in my heart that every version of my son was a good one. Now go get your family. Tim says that he will, but before going, Janet calls out to him one last time asking, "What does the R stand for?" And Tim tells her Robin. He's Robin. Janet smiles. Of course, just like my favorite poem. I read it at my mother's funeral. I should be alive when the robins come. Give the one in the red cravat a memorial crumb. The two say their goodbyes, and Tim jumps back into the stream, ready to find Batman wherever he may be. After getting himself fixed up, Bruce follows Jewel to a small safe house where many of Gotham's residents are hiding out, living the best life that they can. But no one is safe. No one really. Bruce spots Jewel after welcoming some more people in, asking if everything is all right. She tells him, yeah, just. Adrenaline gets her through fighting the cops and the judges. But afterwards, her chest, it gets tight, shaky. Jimbo thinks for a second, telling him, Lord knows that you need another Robin. So how about Panic Attack? Batman and Panic Attack. Nice ring for it, right? Jewel notices Bruce staring off and asks if he sees things. But Bruce says that it's mild hallucinations from multiversal travel. Jewel laughs, telling him that that's not it, Mr. Multiverse. It's called Crane Brain, a gas that's being pumped into the city that gives Arkham's goons more of a reason to commit people. Jewel hands Bruce a few pills, telling him to take one of these in the morning and it'll set him straight in a few days. Bruce asks if everyone takes these. Jewel says only if they can get them. Only people who don't need them are sealed off in Athena Tower. Ironically, since the place that makes the pills is there too. Halliday Industries. Bruce tries to think, but the name isn't familiar. If they are this world's Wayne Enterprises, maybe they have what he needs to get home. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a receptionist is looking at her paper, stating that she is sorry, but office hours are clearly. She then quickly stops herself when she sees who is walking in. A man in white with a red mask tells her, "It's okay. I'll see myself to the judge's quarters. No need to let him know." Receptionist stammers. Of course, Red Mask, sir." Red Mask continues on into a room where Dent is sitting around a group of bodies, stating that he made quite a mess. Shouldn't these men be with him in Arkham? Red Mask continues into the room where Dent is sitting around a group of bodies. "You made quite a mess. Shouldn't these men be inside of Arkham?" Dent says that these men aren't insane. They were criminals. They needed to be punished. Red Mask makes a joke about a dead man walking all over Dent, but Dent retaliates, yelling that it wasn't Bruce Wayne. He was a creature who took his face, and... Just then, Red Mask presses a button and Dent's body begins to withdraw from the venom. Red Mask says that he will not tolerate any aggression towards him. Dent's body reverts back to its benign, small, and frail frame. And Red Mask presses the button again, telling him, "Remember, I can take it all away, Dent. Now, do me a favor and fix all of your mistakes, creature or man. Bring me Bruce Wayne, or the final verdict will be on you." Back at the safe house, Jewel explains a bit more about the Halliday Industries, that is currently led by a man named Darwin Halliday, that he is one of the only ones fighting back against Arkham's hold over the city. Bruce asks how he can get in touch with this Darwin person, and Jewel says, be rich. He's a recluse in Athena. But one false step outside and Arkham will make an example out of him. Bruce says that he can pretend to be rich. Jewel says that there's a fundraising gala in the tower next week. If he can pretend well enough, well, that'll be his best bet. In the coming days, Jewel manages to secure a fake ID and needed supplies to let Bruce slip in as one of the rich individuals. Luckily for him, pretending to be a billionaire playboy is something that he's done before. But as he mingles with the crowd, someone overhears his mention of wanting to meet Halliday, and then introduces herself. Bruce looks back and sees Selina Kyle, but not his Selina, the one of this world, reminding himself that this isn't his Selina. As the two begin to get close, Bruce goes to say his fake name, but Selina says dead before he could say it. Or at least, "You're supposed to be, Mr. Wayne." Bruce asks, "Haven't you always wanted a fresh start? Wash away your old life and fall into the unknown?" She laughs. "My life isn't a trap. I am the trap. Besides, I already thought you had your fresh start. The billionaire playboy who gave it all away to become a social worker, an insane idea. Arkham thought so too. So what's your game? Bruce keeps up the act, stating that he made mistakes and needs his life back. And he needs help doing it. He's looking for Darwin Halliday. Selina motions to the second floor, stating that if he thinks Gotham's golden boy can keep him out of Arkham, he may need to pay tribute and see what he says. Bruce looks up at the balcony, and within a few seconds, a man turns to look down, and immediately, Bruce knows this world's Darwin Halliday is his world's Joker. Bruce breaks away. I'm sorry, I need to. And Selina pulls out her whip, grabbing a hold of him, telling him that it's been too long since he's been in upper polite society. You must have forgotten your manners, Mr. Wayne. Before Bruce could even fight Selina off, there's a sudden crash as a large woman barrels through the wall, telling Selina to hold him. Bruce barely has enough time to realize that this woman is just a venom-enhanced punchline. Bruce rushes towards Selina to break free, barely managing to get hit by any of Punchline's attacks, delivering one of his own in the form of a small knife, and then suddenly he's struck down by a scaly fist. Oh, I just took out Crimson. Bruce tries to fight him, but seeing his attacks do nothing, he's left with only one choice. He takes out a small bottle, throwing the liquid on Croc. Before Croc could realize what it is, Bruce lights a match, tossing it, and a flaming Croc runs out of the window. Bruce then turns to get ready and fight whoever's next, and as he looks through the crowd, he sees another familiar face, one that causes him to pause. Alfred. While Alfred is dead in his world, this Alfred is very much alive. But in that brief moment where he is stunned, Selina attacks again, Bruce going on the defensive against both Selina and Crimson, and quickly losing the fight. One of the guards fires a shot, hitting Bruce in the shoulder, causing him to stumble back and fall out the window. But using a makeshift rope, Bruce manages to catch himself. With the only option being to climb back up into the party or jumping, Bruce decides the best way to escape is down. He lets go of the rope, leaping over another abandoned building. After crashing through the skylights, Bruce picks himself back up, but in the alleyway that he has fallen down into, he hears an officer beating on a person. That officer looks over. Who the hell are you? Get lost or you'll be next. Bruce grits his teeth, throwing himself in, unable to not help someone in need. Even though he takes a few hits himself, he gets the job done. And then he lays on the floor, realizing something. Every Gotham is his Gotham. He wants to go home, but the people of this Gotham, they need his help to strike fear into the people who need it. The skeleton Jimbo that only Bruce can see looks down at him. So, strike fear. Bruce looks over at the hanging bat. Yes, Gotham. I shall become the Bat. The next night, a young boy sits in an abandoned warehouse crying as a venom-juiced Riddler asks his riddle. I'm as cold as death, but I live. I'm never thirsty, but always drinking. What am I? The young boy says that he doesn't know, and Riddler says, Go fish, tisk tisk. Signs of cognitive decline in such a young age will fix you in Arkham. But as Riddler looks at the next child to conduct his test, everyone hears a shuffling in the rafters. Riddler pays it no mind as he looks back at the children, when suddenly there's a thud, followed by screams and calls for help. His attention is fixated on where the noises are coming from. An officer is dropped and hung by his feet as Batman looks at him. Edward Nigma! The Riddler begins to shoot, shouting, How do you know my name? Stay back! Riddler grabs a child as a shield and a batarang is thrown into his hands. Batman says, I know many things, and I know how to hurt you. The child breaks free running and Riddler looks at him. Who are you? Batman looks him back down. I'm everyone who's ever been hurt. I am their vengeance. I am Batman! Later, Selina visits Red Mask in his lab, telling him that they have a problem. A Bruce Wayne problem. Which is not Bruce Wayne. He's a good fighter and quite possibly the one who beat up the Riddler, while dressed as a bat. Red Mask takes out the picture of the Riddler in his hospital bed. Selina goes on stating that his Riddler creep was testing on children. She told him before she'd go along with this perverse cleanup, but she had one rule: no children. But before she could finish that sentence, Red Mask moves at superhuman speeds, punching Selina twice, telling her, Children are our most precious commodity and are the fastest growing demographic of mental health disorders. You work for me. There is no deal. Now, do what I ask and bring me Bruce Wayne. Bring me this Batman. But as the word Batman begins to spread, the criminals whisper of his existence, and the people begin to think twice. However, if this world didn't have a Batman, that would mean that there wouldn't have been a Bruce Wayne. But that is exactly what Batman has to uncover. What happened to this Bruce Wayne? He begins to dig up the grave marked Bruce Wayne, and he pulls the lid off the coffin. He does find himself in there, and that's when he hears the cocking of a gun and a voice asking, "Who are you?" Bruce looks over, telling the man, "I know who you are. You're Alfred." Batman removes his cowl, and Alfred is furious. "Master Wayne is dead. I came back to see my boy to make sure his grave was still, and someone is desecrating." Batman steps out. "I am Bruce Wayne. As crazy as it sounds, I'm from another universe. Alfred Pennyworth from my universe was a kind man who stood up to evil, and you're here to do just that." Batman begins to pull his body out. "I'm sorry to do this, but I must find out what killed your Bruce Wayne. I'll do everything in my power to make things right, because an Alfred Pennyworth raised me." Later back at the hospital, Jewel looks around the corner stating that no one is coming, but they need to be quick. Batman looks to her. "I appreciate your help." Jewel asks if he started one of these in his world. The Bruce Wayne here gave up his entire fortune and put it into places like this. It was the Wayne mission: food, shelter, medical. He then became a social worker. But looks like you had other things to spend your money on. Batman tells her that he did similar things in his world, plus this. He is a highly functioning multitasker. At that moment, the computer beeps, and as Batman reads the charts, he says that this Bruce Wayne was poisoned. Lung damage indicates gas. And there's something else. There's traces of multiversal energy. Jewel asks, what does that mean? Does that mean that this Bruce Wayne was from another universe as well? As Batman goes to answer, there's a rumble. Outside, Judge Dent orders his officers to cut off the block and bring the man to him. Back inside, Batman tells Jewel to go ahead and alert the staff. Help the residents get out. Jewel asks, what about him? What is he going to do? Batman begins to walk outside. I'm going to get some answers. Outside, the officers are getting ready to kick the doors in when a smoke grenade is thrown down, and several of the officers are knocked to the ground. As the smoke begins to clear, Dent yells to find him. And Batman asks, Find me? Harvey. I'm everywhere. I'm Gotham! Dent turns to make his way towards Batman, pumping in more of the venom, and as he charges in with one well-placed kick, Batman knocks him off balance. But rather than dodging the next attack, Batman lets it hit, knowing the lucky shot makes people cocky. His plan worked. Dent turns to grab a car, lifting the entire car over his head to crush Batman. But as Dent looks down, he sees Batman smiling as he holds a cable that is tied to his leg, and he pulls. The car falls back onto Dent, and he goes to pull himself out, growling, asking, Do you dare stand in the way of justice? But Batman punches him. I am justice! The punches don't stop, and as the officers stare and watch, Batman asks, what are they waiting for? What are you waiting for? Tell me everything about Arkham. Tell me what you know about Darwin Holiday. But Dent has a hard time even remembering his own name. A voice tells him that the judge doesn't know anything. He just takes orders, unlike her. Bruce looks up to see Selina standing there, and he tells her that he doesn't have time for games. She says that she doesn't know anything about Holiday, but she does know about Arkham and the man running it, Red Mask. Batman pauses for a moment, reminding himself that this is not his Selina, so can he trust her? He asks who is Red Mask, but she says that she couldn't say, and she doesn't even really care. He could be another Bruce Wayne for all that matters, but he runs Arkham and runs the city. And Red Mask, he needs to be stopped. As Selina turns, Batman grabs her arm, and she pulls away, telling him not to touch her. Batman asks, Does he control you like he controls the others? Are you using me to eliminate your enemy? She glares for a moment. His little experiments offend me. If he disappeared, I wouldn't shed a tear. Later, the two of them make their way through the city just as Batman did with Catwoman, familiar, yet different. But she does mention something that he has already confirmed. The gas being used must be linked to the multiversal energy. As they reach the sewer system, Batman says that he was expecting her to take him to Arkham Asylum. And Selina asks, Asylum? You must have been dead longer than I thought. That place closed up years ago. Red Mask replaced it. A lot of people don't know it, but there's a whole world under the city where the discarded go, where the insane are regulated to. You'll find Red Mask and is infected here, in the Arkham Caves. As Batman looks out on the vast network of tunnels and rooms, Selina asks, "Who are you? Who are you really?" Batman says that he is a man who knows what she is and who she can be. Go help people. He touches down onto the lower levels, and he sees several cells lined up with the people that he knows. One with Lex Luthor in it, another with Barry Allen. The Flash begs to be let out, but Batman knows that he can't. A Flash broken from reality could kill everyone in his city in the time it takes to draw a breath. He stares and takes it in. Red Mask calls out to him that it's really an honor to meet him, and Batman looks back, calling him by his actual name. "You're Darwin Halliday." Darwin laughs. "This part is over. The hiding. Playing the socially minded billionaire like you. But come, let me show you my true accomplishments." Darwin takes off his mask and Batman follows. "Everything is about the multiverse, isn't it?" Darwin looks at him. "Partly. Well, I spent my youth building up my pharmaceutical empire. I was always a chemist with a mind for numbers, a desire for more. But there are only so many mountains to climb. There is a hole inside of me, a chasm that couldn't be filled. Nobody understood. I pushed my people, so maybe it was sabotage. But one of the compounds that they were working on showed me something horrible, something beautiful. It was me, as I should be, the Joker! There are threads throughout the multiverse that connect us to different versions of ourselves. I saw who I was meant to be, elemental, uninhibited. I've seen the world through your eyes, and how everything just looks gray." Batman looks at him. "The Joker is insane, and so are you. All of these experiments, this terror, to what? To see through another madman's eyes? I've seen through his eyes many times. I've seen you, the eternal game with the Joker. No, these experiments are about more than that. They're about traveling sideways through the multiverse and backwards, so that I can see through those eyes at the moment of his inception, so that I can..." Batman interrupts him. "So you can become him. Shatter your mind the way the Joker's was, to become him." "I'm tired of limitations! I'm tired of knowing I could be more. When you arrived, I thought it was a sign. I wanted to find you and see if your multiversal signature could help, but you left plenty of blood in the tower for me to examine." Darwin activates a force field, trapping Batman in it. "It helped somewhat to confirm your coordinates. But also, it's about sheer numbers. That's why I've brought so many into the caves. I needed all of the multiversal energy that I could get. And now, I have the perfect conduit to infect the most people. I just wish that we had more time." As Darwin escapes, the room that Batman is locked in begins to fill with Crane Brain. But Batman quickly places an explosive on the wall, detonating it, blowing out a hole and allowing him to turn off the machine. With the gas stopped, he runs through the tunnels, radioing to Jewel that Red Mask is going to infect the city with a poisonous gas. They don't have time to clear the city. Get as many people into the Athena Tower as possible. "And Selina, if you're there, help Jewel. I know you don't want people to die. You're a good person. You're the best." But a voice stops him. "I've been told that I need to deal with a pest." Batman's eyes widen as this world's Ghostmaker stands before him, enhanced by Venom, already attacking him before he hardly has a chance to understand the situation. Batman dodges back, leaping out of the way of Ghostmaker. "You're fast. Good. I need the challenge." As Batman is about to jump to another level, a sword is thrown through his shoulder, and Ghostmaker tells him, "You're in such a rush. Don't you want to play with the infamous Ghost Breaker? It would be an honor to be killed by me." Batman begins to push the sword back out through his shoulder, and then he takes it, assuming a fighting stance. Ghostbreaker laughs. "You know what you're doing." Batman deflects, and Ghostbreaker stops for a moment. "Wait, you trained with Kurigai?" Batman doesn't respond, keeping silent and attacking, realizing that he needs to keep Ghostbreaker off balance. That venom makes him stronger and faster. As Ghostbreaker tackles into him, throwing the two over the ledge, he struggles, asking, "Who else have you trained with?" Batman throws his grappling hook to catch himself, swinging it with a kick, telling him, "The Shanghai Sky Spider." As he hits Ghostbreaker, throwing him off balance, he crashes into a pipe, causing him to let go and fall. "It's been fun, but I wasn't really tasked with killing you, just keeping you from messing up my benefactor's plans. He has a special plan for you." Ghostbreaker presses a button and the cell doors open. Dozens of the patients come running out, one of them being Clark Kent, a rogue Superman. Batman stares, telling himself, "I'm not Bruce Wayne to him. We're not friends. I'm Batman, and Batman has no fear." Batman begins to step forward, rolling his eyes, shouting, "I walk as a man, but I am your nightmare!" Clark begins to stumble over his words, and in a panic, he flies out of the facility. Leaving the rest of them behind, Batman begins to climb back out of the pit and into the sewers, running back into Ghostbreaker. The two men face off, and Batman resumes his fighting stance. "We should do this one without blades, so we can really see what we're both made of." Ghostbreaker tosses his sword. "I'm made of the very best, so let's see who else you've trained with." Fists and knees begin to fly as each lands several of their hits, but Batman already knows how Ghostmaker fights. He knows his moves and his openings. Batman spins around, wrapping himself around Ghostbreaker's back, delivering one hard-hitting punch to the side of his mask with enough power to crack the mask and send Ghostbreaker to the ground. Batman gets back up, holding his side as he reaches for the controls to stop the gas, but before he could, Ghostbreaker sits up, grabbing him by the cape. The switch is pulled, and then Ghostbreaker swings his sword, cutting off Batman's hand. Batman turns back, beginning to put all of his weight into the elbow, which he brings down on Ghostbreaker's face, and then the reality of his missing hand begins to set in. Meanwhile, outside, Jewel begins to help usher people to Athena, but also realizes that Darwin has more than just gas spreading throughout the city. He has man-bats, all equipped with gas-dispensing canisters. Jewel begins to fight back the man-bats to clear everyone's path, but as one turns its attention on her, she receives a bit of help in the form of a whip. Selina snaps the whip back around Man-Bat's neck, and she pulls it tight, stating, "I'm not sure why this city has started to attract rodent men, but we really need an exterminator." Meanwhile, back below the streets, in the sewers, Arkham Caves, Batman makes his way to the medical wing of the facility in search of a tool to stabilize his injury. After repurposing some of Arkham's equipment, Batman manages to make a makeshift electrocauterizing tool to close the wound. After stopping the bleeding, he fashions 3 blades to the end of his arm. But while Batman is struggling through the pain to make his way into Darwin's building, Darwin himself gets ready to take the lunge to find the moment in time that he is looking for, so that he can see through the eyes of the Joker when he first existed. He sees Batman fighting his counterpart of the Red Hood, and he's scared. He was in pain, but that pain is exquisite. Something is off. It's like the Joker was looking back at Darwin Halliday. He rips off his mask, and Crimson catches him, asking him if it worked. Darwin tells her it did. He made it to the moment of creation, but Joker saw him. And most importantly, he is unchanged. He needs to go back. He needs to be fearless. Crimson prepares the machine again, and when it's ready, she lets him know. Darwin puts on his mask, stating that he was scared and the Joker is fearless. He is loved, admired, feared, but the Joker, he's beyond love and hate. He's obsession. He doesn't care what people think. He is his ID unleashed, his potential. As Darwin revisits the moment, he can see the Joker changing, but perhaps it wasn't just because of Batman. Perhaps it was because of his visit that broke the Joker. But if that's the case, Darwin yells, "No! I need something more! I need!" And the Joker says, "Need! We used to be so needy! But when it's all a joke, lay it out before you like strewn guts. There's only one need." Let that sink in! Let the joke of it all burst out for everyone to hear! You made us! Care for a fourth? Darwin throws the mask off again, and Crimson asks what happened. Darwin tells her that he can't. He can't become the Joker because he's the one who created the Joker. Just then, there's a murderous Thoom from outside, and Batman throws Croc in, telling Darwin that he's finished. Crimson charges in with her knife, shouting for him to stay away, but Batman hits her with the spikes on his arm and then lands a punch that knocks her to the ground. I was wrong, Bruce. I can never become him. It's not what I was meant to be. Batman looks at him. You already are him. You're a murderer and a psychopath. I just crossed worlds to stop you. Like I stop him. Batman attacks, and Darwin uses his speed powers to avoid and attack him back, telling him, my job, Batman, is to make Jokers. With you. Hasn't that thought haunted you for all of these years? That if you didn't exist as Batman, the Joker wouldn't exist either. Batman charges in head first into Darwin's stomach, stabbing him with the pointed ears. I stopped thinking that way years ago. You've shown me something. A world without Batman is still a world with monsters. You might not look like the Joker, but you're still evil. You're still a killer. You're still the Joker. And in any universe, I stop Jokers! Just then, the door slams open again with Jules, Selina, and Alfred. But before Batman could even talk to them, Darwin makes a break for his machine, yelling, No! I know what I have to do now! What I need to do! Batman runs over to the machine that Darwin passed through and sees that it's filled with multiversal energy, but without knowing where to go. He can't go home, and he can't track Darwin. Selina ties Crimson up, stating good riddance. But Batman appeals to Crimson, stating that they need to know where his research was so that they can figure this out. She gives him the key code, he punches it in, and a secret room opens up with several items inside, one of them being a scanner. He could recalibrate it so that he could track down Darwin's signature. But Alfred walks up. Surely, you're not going after him. I need to get home first. Get what I need to stop him, get myself back to 100%. Batman looks at his missing hand, trying to keep himself from going into shock. And he looks back at his reflection, thinking back to Failsafe, and if Zur-En-Arrh is infecting his brain still. Alfred puts his hand on Batman's shoulder. You look so much like my Bruce. You give and never stop. But you have to stop, or the universe will do it for you. You don't need to do everything alone, my boy. I wish I'd said the same to my. Batman stops him. Come with me, Alfred. I can't. You're right. I can't do this alone, it's too much. I've lost my way and I've gotten trapped in the darkness, but together, we can fight the unending parade of monsters. We can help people. Together. I'm dead, aren't I? In your world. That's why you want me to join you. I would love nothing more than to join you, to help my son again, but you're not my Bruce, and I'm not your Alfred. I've spent too much time with my head in the sand here to simply leave. My Gotham needs help. It's time I did just that. Jewel says that if he's willing to call her Master Jewel, he could help her. Alfred laughs. There I have it, on purpose. Batman takes a moment to respond, but hugs Alfred. Thank you. No, thank you, son. Batman goes back to the terminal, and Selina asks what about her. Gonna ask if she'll go with him? I already have a Selina. Am I like your Selina? My Selina is conflicted. What about you? Fighting crime from universe to universe, does it ever end? I fight crime where I'm needed. If crime ends, if injustice ends, so do I. The purpose is good. I could have a simple life, a wife, a family. But the emptiness inside of me would eat me alive. It's who I am. You've built an empire here. You like feeling safe. I won't make you feel that way. At that moment, Selina spins back, kicking Batman through the portal before he could finish his preparations. Without his anchor back, leaving him with nothing but a tracker locked on to Darwin's trail. Moments later, he's thrown out into Gotham, but it's not his Gotham. He notices a sign that the Joker is back, and a voice asks if he has had anything to do with this. Batman looks back to see another version of himself. Batman looks at himself. Is the Joker dead? He was dead here? The alternate Batman says, here. Sorry, but you'll have to be more. But before he could get an answer, Batman is yanked back into the multiverse, thrown into another Gotham. He gets back up as a shadowy man walks forward laughing. It figures if I was brought back, so would you. It's a real treat for me after all. You got to kill me already, so now it's my turn! Joker lunges forward, revealing his fangs, tackling Batman to the ground. But before he could sink his teeth in, Batman is yanked into the multiverse again. He moves quickly from universe to universe, only to ones that have never had Jokers, suddenly existing, followed by the appearance of a man in a red mask. But these have all taken a turn. They're more evil, more wild, and as supernatural as he feared the Joker could become. And in universes where the Joker died, he returned from his grave to just wreak havoc again. However, Batman stops and he runs into a version of himself who did go too far. The Batman of the Arkham universe looks at our Batman from Prime Earth. That itch, that voice that says to let him die, to let his madness disappear under dirt and worms. But even with him gone, you've still got it in your head. You have to exorcise him. My identity is public. My life is over. And for what? To see the Joker crawl back out of his grave to terrorize the city again? If you can stop this, if you can put him back in the ground where he belongs, do it, for all our sakes. But again, Batman is yanked through the multiverse when he's pulled up by someone. He finds himself being picked up by somebody also wearing a bat suit, a futuristic suit, a suit from beyond. And a much older man steps forward with a cane. Hello, Bruce. Looks like you're having a problem with the multiverse. And a man named Red Mask, a sane Joker. The older Bruce looks back at the computer and says that he's been jumping in and out of universes and across time, using his multiversal energy and creating Jokers wherever he goes. They've been tracking the energy as he moved, and he made landfall here a day ago. Terry here has been scouring Gotham for signs of a new Joker. Batman looks back at the young man, and Terry removes his Batman Beyond mask. Guess there's no need for secret identities with another Batman. The older Bruce tells him that they can deal with the Joker here, but they simply can't leave their universe until it's finished. They can, however, help him from involuntarily jumping from world to world. They can recalibrate his scanner, but to get home, he can use this Holt disc to return to his natural universe. At that moment, there's an explosion and a revived Joker steps through. I'm here for Bruce! However, before Batman can assist, he's pulled back into the time stream and thrown through multiversal universes, ones that Darwin has tainted. He meets many versions of himself. Classic versions. Versions filled with gaslight. Versions from a kingdom come. Versions where there was a world of injustice. But at the end of the day, it was all the same. Until Batman finds himself in a world that is a bit more nostalgic, almost like it's happening in the year 1966. The Batman of this universe manages to put down the revised Joker, calls our Batman chum, and tells him that he doesn't know much about the universe, but he does know one thing. Every Batman needs a utility belt to fight the darkness. And with that, Batman is leaping through the multiverse again. He ends up in a universe where Batman is older, where the Dark Knight is returned. In that universe, he's assisted by this old, grizzled Bruce to create a prosthetic hand, a robot arm, to replace his injury. He's also given a new uniform, one to help him get through everything with his new hand and his new utility belts. But eventually, Darwin and Batman, their chase comes to a conclusion as they have reached the end of the line. They have reached the end of the multiverse. As a giant Joker shark begins to chomp through a small patch of land that hardly exists, Batman says that he has enough energy to get home. To help. Darwin stops him. Maybe I can't be him, but I have just enough energy to do what the Joker could never do. Darwin sends a shark at Batman, and as he jumps on its back, the shark slams himself into a wall. Batman manages to grab onto the side of the wall to slow his fall, but as he looks down, he sees the shark's maw opening wide, just about to swallow him. He rummages through his utility belt for something to help, and he pulls something out laughing. Haha, finally. A Batman more prepared than myself, and he sprays the shark repellent. After being sprayed with the repellent, the Joker shark swims off, and Darwin says that he needs to try one more time to get into his head. Batman climbs back up, telling him that he could have been anything. A scientist, a scholar, a helper. He always wondered what the Joker would have become if he didn't become the Joker. If his existence created the evil inside of him, but he could see it now. It's always been inside of him. Without the madness of the Joker, he's just a more pathetic evil. Darwin lunges at Batman, shouting, "I'll kill you!" And Batman cracks him with a single punch. Darwin lays on the ground, and Batman looks at the disc that he was given. It can only bring one of them back to their original universe, and he can't leave Halliday here. But he can't send him home and stay here. Batman then sits down, trying to think of something. There's always a way except maybe there isn't for once. Even before failsafe, Batman found himself slipping. He wasn't as fast, not as strong. The years were catching up to him. Batman wins. But now, he isn't sure what to do. He always knows what to do, but is Batman slipping? Has he finally failed? Is it Batman and the Joker at the end of time, the end of the multiverse? But at that moment, at that very moment, as a light that begins to shine, he looks back and he thinks, maybe Batman needs to be lifted up by his Robin. Tim Drake appears floating down. He asks, "Is it really you? Thank God, I've seen enough Batmen to last." Batman walks up hugging Tim before he could finish. "Thank you for coming for me, for saving me." But as all things seemingly are ending well, Tim having a way to return home, the Disc able to return Halliday, there's another voice in the back of Batman's mind. The voice of Zur-En-Arrh. "Looks like our trip is at an end. Time to fight some crime." After returning from a series of jumps through the multiverse, Batman sits up in his bed in the Batacombs, thinking that he's fine. Mr. Terrific looks at the charts, telling him that he does heal remarkably fast, so he's inclined to agree, though there is still some residual multiversal energy from his trip. Batman gets dressed, telling him that it's harmless. It'll dissipate with time. Thanks for sticking around to Gotham. Thanks for keeping an eye on me, Mr. Terrific. It's my pleasure, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask about... Batman looks at his hand. The hand that he has now lost and replaced with a robotic one. And he tells Mr. Terrific that he'd appreciate it if he just kept the robotic hand between them. While getting ready to leave, there's a call on the comms, and when Batman answers, Tim says that he was just checking in to see how Batman was doing. Batman tells him that he's fine, and Tim says if he says so. But maybe he should take the night off, and Batman stops him. "I'm fine. Any major developments since I've been away?" Tim tells him that, with the Penguin dead, 2 of his kids showed up to run the Iceberg Lounge. Then there's Selina. Batman takes a moment to himself to meditate, to center himself from everything that just recently happened. Failsafe, the robotic Batman, is still out there. Red Mask created an entire multiverse of Jokers. And then there's Zur-En-Arrh, the psychotic version of Batman in his own mind that he created as his own ultimate Batman. Zur calls out to Bruce, telling him, "My name is Batman." Bruce tells him, "No, you're a backup human operating system. Ha! I'm the real you. I was created in the event your mind was under attack. Well, it is under attack. By Batman. By your insecurities and your doubts. And when Batman has doubts, people die. I won't let that happen. You've been locked away. You don't have any power anymore." And Zur-En-Arrh laughs. "That's interesting. Locked away. Instead of being destroyed. It's because you can't without destroying your own mind, Bruce. Or is it because you need me? You need me for what's coming, right? Because Batman can't be weak." Bruce shakes his head, grounding himself back to reality, realizing that during his time meditating, there were dozens of calls. Dick, Barbara, Duke, Stephanie, Clark, they all want to know how Bruce is. Bruce is hurt. Bruce is lost, but Batman isn't. Later at the Iceberg Lounge, Addison and Aiden Cobblepot have expanded upon their late father's work, creating an off-the-books back room for Gotham's high rollers. Even though Bruce has been away, it's his job to remind them that Batman still watches the streets. Just as the next hand is dealt, Batman activates the explosions and drops in on the table, calling out to Addison and Aiden, telling them that they're just as greedy as their father was. Addison yells, "In business, you're either growing or dying. Heard you already passed the ladder." Batman jumps down. "I don't die. Just ask your father if you have a Ouija board handy." Aiden, however, winds up, telling him to get away from his sister, but Batman has already predicted how Aiden would react. But what he didn't predict was how fast he actually was. So much so that before Batman could even get a footing, Aiden has already charged and thrown him into the bathroom and was choking him. He underestimated him, and now he knows Aiden can take it. Batman reaches out to grab Aiden's hand, and as he crushes it, he looks at his new hand, not realizing the strength that a robotic hand could have. He hides the surprised look, getting up, telling Addison to consider this a warning. And after leaving there, Batman radios into Babs to follow up on something that Tim mentioned. Something about Selina. Batman's informed that there was a breakout and a handful of inmates escaped, but nobody has heard from Selina since she got out of prison. It's possible that she may have skipped town. They'll keep an eye out for her for him. But there's something else. Babs asks Batman, "Did you take off your monitoring systems? I'm not getting a read on your physical condition." Batman ends the transmission. "I'm fine," which is only partly true. Batman is fine, but Bruce Wayne is not. And this is the only way that it works out. The next day, a woman stops by a bagel and coffee shop for a late afternoon snack when a voice calls out to her from the shadows. "Cats are creatures of habit." The woman scoffs. "Bat." After ditching the disguise, Selina says that she heard that he was back in town. Some grand adventure in space this time. Batman says that she broke out of prison. She tells him, yeah, it wasn't doing it for her anymore. It's been weeks since they've seen each other, and he's going to, what, bring her in, reprimand her? Batman says that she killed Valmont to save him. "I don't like it, but you don't deserve a life in prison. We've all had to make hard choices, and you turned down my help. My lawyer, Selina." "So?" she asks him. "I freed myself instead of using your money. I'm a ghost now, and maybe that's what I want to be for now. A fresh start, something new. Like Oswald." Batman stares. "What?" "You may have been hung up on not being able to save him, but it was all a lie. The Penguin just wanted out. He wanted to get away from the back and forth. He faked his own death, Bruce. I wasn't sure if I should tell you, but Oswald left town and settled elsewhere." Batman stumbles back. "Failsafe. The robot I created, it came after me, my family, all because it thought I killed Cobblepot, and you kept that from me. We're not supposed to have secrets from each other." She looks at him. "The two of us are nothing but secrets, Bruce. Don't even pretend like we're not. I love you, but our lives? I wasn't in space. I was in another universe, another Gotham. There was a Selina there too. I couldn't help but love her as well. That's the kind of hold you have over me, and you betrayed me." She sighs. "Your life. I'm not the other Selina. I'm my own person, and I didn't know that you created some damn robot to kill yourself. I didn't know either. Wow, to think I kept secrets from you." As she leaves, Batman just sits there when an alarm goes off, signaling an intruder in the manor. He hurries over, looking down at the hole that Zur-En-Arrh made for himself, a cave beneath his own, a place where Failsafe was created. And then there's a noise coming from upstairs. Batman quietly sneaks out from behind the clock, hearing the voices, happy voices and laughter. He steps into the kitchen, and he sees all of his children there making breakfast. Just as he's about to ask what's going on, Jason looks at him. "Yeah, they tricked me to be here too." Seconds later, Dick and Babs enter, stating that they're sorry for being late. Dick says that it was his idea to trip the sensors, figured it'd be the only way to make sure that Bruce got here in a hurry. Besides that, it's time to eat. Come on, Bruce. Bruce follows, taking in the scene, seeing so many of his children there, happy. They're all young men and women who have followed him into his life, people who still feel joy, even if it's sparingly. Then Dick walks up, stating that Tim told him about Zur-En-Arrh. "Is everything all right?" "Yes, Zur-En-Arrh is locked away. There's nothing to worry about." Except there is. Zur-En-Arrh has poisoned the well. He put doubt into Bruce's mind. He created Failsafe. He built a Zur-En-Arrh cave beneath the other cave. What else did Zur-En-Arrh do? He can see the end coming. No, wait, that's not it. He can feel the end coming, and he can't see it. He's blind. Blind as a bat. How does he save everyone here? Everyone that he loves. How far can Batman go? How far can Bruce go before it all burns away? But there's a little story that was added to this particular issue. It's called The Plans Below, and we see how Zur-En-Arrh operated. We need to jump back in time to a time when Zur-En-Arrh existed, but a time before Bruce knew what he was doing. As Bruce Wayne is working away at his desk, Alfred knocks on the door. "I know you may think of yourself as above mere mortals, but 2 hours of sleep is not enough to." Bruce laughs. I'm fine, Alfred. I'll take my morning coffee and catty comments to go. Right now, there's work to be done. He takes his coffee down to the cave, going over Riddler's latest riddle when something changes. He seems to snap into a different personality. He turns back, activating a hidden switch that opens up a hatch to a hidden room in the cave, one with a whole new bat suit. He pulls on a purple mask, and Zora-Nar, through Bruce's body, says, "Ha! Now let's see how you're coming along." Zora-Nar activates failsafe, and the robot says, "Alert mode activated." "Good, what are your directives?" "To observe Batman via global chatter and witnessed behaviors. If there is a 95% probability that he willingly took a life, I am to eliminate Batman." "Ha-ha! And how will you go about it?" "I will kill Batman, a conundrum, a paradox, to murder a man for the crime of murder." Zora-Nar steps over into the training area. Batman isn't just a man. He's a force of nature. And if he's got a taste for blood, he'll never stop killing. That blood will run into Gotham's soil and a new world will grow in its place. Zora looks at Failsafe. "Can you kill him?" Failsafe shuffles out of his capsule. "Yes." "Show me." Zora-Nar begins to spar with the robot, but soon Failsafe grabs him. "I will observe and make determinations, and it appears Batman has gone too far, which means..." Zora grabs 2 injectors, slamming them into Failsafe. Failsafe eases back. "You cannot!" And Zora scoffs. "Ha! Time to get back to work. My programming is incomplete. When I accomplish my mission, then what?" Zora-Nar tosses Failsafe back into his capsule. "I'll be back with your next update." He takes off the mask, walking back to the computer, and goes through the prior night's arrest. "Mugger got lucky last night. Landed a 2x4 in my chest. Be better, Bruce." Soon after that, Bruce blinks, continuing his research on the Riddler, completely unaware that he is now missing 20 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Make sure you like and subscribe. We're going to be bringing you the next part of this full story saga next week with Batman Mind Bomb.